clearly and concisely. And once you learn how to do that, then you can bring in all the stakeholders and you can get into programs that'll help you and train you on how to build it. But that first step is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got Startup on the Blocks. So I need you to start coming to Startup on the Blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive, and so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up, and that's not very efficient unless if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the lean startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of like that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing, all the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America, we do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally, and we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about and language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and then I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow, send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Startup on the Blocks, Lloyd Richard, and Lloyd is here. He's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Startup on the Blocks.
Yes, join Startup on the Blocks. Welcome, everybody. Glad to have you here. Another Thursday Startup Founder Best Practices. We're here to help founders learn the best practices for building a startup. Being a startup founder is challenging. It's tough, but I guess if you follow a structured path, you can get there and be successful. Yeah. So I just got an email from my guest for tonight. She's said here she had a family emergency, and so let's prayers for her family. And so we want to just make sure she and her family is safe. So I will share some information about her just to help you understand the significance of her career and where she's going. First I'll do that before we because her story is literally amazing, and definitely we'll get it back on, and I'm definitely proud of the success she's had. So I'm going to show you a quick video about her, and just to give you an idea about her.
Today, we're diving into the absolutely incredible story of Kay Wells. Now, this is someone who managed massive, multi-million-dollar programs at places like Amazon and Northrop Grumman, and then completely pivoted to invent a revolutionary consumer product. We're going to see how those deep, high-level technical skills can become the bedrock for amazing entrepreneurial success.
So, let's just kick things off with a question that sounds kind of like a riddle, right? What in the world could a high-tech fighter jet possibly have in common with a simple flower pot? Well, the answer isn't a what, it's a who. And that person is Kay Wells. Her career is this amazing bridge between two worlds that seem like they're on opposite sides of the universe. On one hand, you've got the corporate engineer managing huge programs for some of the biggest companies on the planet. And on the other, you have the startup founder creating a clever solution for a problem that frustrates plant lovers everywhere.
This really lets us introduce a unique type of innovator, what we're calling the engineer founder. Kay's story is basically a blueprint for how someone who is an expert in wildly complex systems can turn around and create a solution that is just beautifully simple. To really get how she succeeded as a founder, we have to go back and look at the powerhouse toolkit she built over 2 decades in the corporate world. And this wasn't just a list of jobs on a resume. This was a deliberate process of forging the skills to build, well, pretty much anything. I mean, her career path reads like a who's who of logistics and aerospace. She was a project manager for manufacturing tech at Northrop Grumman, then she moved over to project engineering at FedEx, and then she was scaling massive operations as a regional program manager for Amazon. Each stop added another crucial tool to her belt.
And you can see the sheer scale of her expertise in her own words, planning massive projects from the first sketch all the way to completion. But I want you to focus on 3 specific things she mentions: Six Sigma, 5S, and Lean. Now, these might just sound like corporate buzzwords, but trust me, they're not. They are incredibly powerful frameworks for efficiency and quality, and they became the secret weapons in her startup toolkit.
Okay, first up, Six Sigma. Think of it as a super disciplined, totally data-driven way to hunt down and eliminate defects in any process. The goal is to get as close to perfect as you possibly can. And the results? They speak for themselves. At Northrop Grumman, she used these methods to slash manufacturing hours by a staggering 60%. That's not a small adjustment, that's a total transformation.
The scale of her impact is just huge. While she was at FedEx Supply Chain, she managed projects that led to over $10 million in savings, new revenue, and avoided costs. That shows an elite ability to look at a huge system, find exactly where the problems are, and create enormous value. All right, the next tool in the kit is Lean. This is all about maximizing value for the customer by minimizing waste. It means cutting out any step, any material, any time that doesn't add something the customer actually wants. So of course, at a place like Amazon, a company that is absolutely obsessed with efficiency, she was a key person driving this kind of operational excellence. It's a mindset of constantly asking, how can we do this better, faster, and cheaper? And get this, if you want a number that really puts her work at Amazon into perspective, here it is, 8. She launched 8 brand new million-square-foot fulfillment centers. Just try to imagine the complexity, the logistics, the systems thinking needed to build operations of that size from the ground up. It's mind-boggling. And finally, there's 5S. This is a system for organizing workspace based on 5 principles: sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. Now, it might sound simple, but it's a fundamental piece of the puzzle. It's all about creating an environment where efficiency isn't just something you hope for, it's the default setting. Okay, so she's got this absolutely killer corporate toolkit. What happens next? Well, this is the big turning point in the story, the moment where all that high-level, complex engineering expertise found a new and very personal purpose. The big idea for her startup didn't come from an aerospace lab. It came from a simple, incredibly relatable problem: the struggle to just keep a plant alive. I mean, who hasn't been there, wondering if you're giving it too much water or maybe not enough? Now this is so important. Kay wasn't just an engineer looking for a random problem to solve. She also happened to have expert-level knowledge in horticulture and gardening. It's this combination, this fusion of professional skill and personal passion, that's where the real magic happens. And the result of that magic is Posy Pots. It's a patented, 3D-printed, self-watering planter. But it's not just another pot. It's an engineered system designed specifically to solve the root problem of plant care. It's an elegant solution that could only come from her unique background. So how does it all tie together? This is the core of our explainer. We're going to draw some very direct lines from her decades of corporate experience straight to her success as a startup founder. You can literally draw a straight line from each skill to its application. Her experience creating patents for fighter jet technology at Northrop Grumman, that led directly to her securing a U.S. patent for Posy Pots, protecting her idea from day one. Her deep R&D and prototyping skills, that's what fueled the rapid development of the 3D printed designs. Her mastery of supply chains from Amazon and FedEx, that's how she was able to become a supplier for a retail giant like Walmart. And that relentless focus on continuous improvement, it's baked right into the DNA of her simple, efficient product. So the crucial point, the thing I really want you to take away, is this. Her 2 decades spent mastering Lean, Six Sigma, and complex logistics wasn't a detour. It wasn't something she left behind. It became the very foundation she built her company on. That deep technical mastery is a founder's superpower. It lets you avoid so many common pitfalls and build a better, more reliable product from the start. So, what can we all learn from this? Let's try and distill Kaywell's amazing journey into an actionable blueprint for any aspiring innovator out there. Okay, here are the key insights. First, deep technical expertise is a superpower. Never underestimate it. Second, those corporate principles like Lean and Six Sigma aren't just for giants. They can make a startup incredibly nimble and smart. Third, engineer for simplicity. The goal isn't to build something complex. It's to solve a real user's need in the most elegant way possible. Fourth, use systems thinking for your whole business, not just your product. That's how you build something that can actually scale. And finally, an early IP strategy is absolutely critical to protect your innovation. So what can you do right now? Number 1, audit your own toolkit. What are you a real expert in? What processes have you totally mastered? 2, find the problem.
Look for those common frustrations out in the world that your unique skills are perfectly suited to solve. 3. Engineer the solution. Think about the whole system from manufacturing to marketing. And 4. Protect your idea from the get-go.
And that brings us to the final thought. Kay Wells found a way to connect her deep expertise in aerospace engineering to horticulture. It's just a powerful reminder that real innovation often happens at the intersection of our different skills. So the question I want to leave you with is this. What powerful expertise are you currently overlooking in your own toolkit?
Cool. Yeah, that's a little bit about Kay. Yeah, she has fantastic career, and uh, like if you were just tuning in, she had a family emergency, so she won't be here tonight. So you have me, and so I'll go ahead and get started. I'll start off with giving a shout out to our sponsors and partners. First, let's go with our partners. Uh, yes, we definitely wouldn't be here without our partners and sponsors. The partners have help us grow and provide more resources to the founders out in the ecosystem, and so made lots of things available. And training, AI stuff is really an amazing set of partners, and I think uh, any organization out there, it's a really good strategy to do if you want to grow. Even your startup, you have to have partners. So it's a pretty neat having the support, but you also have to have customers, sponsors in our case, that actually fund your organization or buy your product or services. So we want to give a big shout out to all of these sponsors and partners who support what we're doing here. Yes, and I did want to comment a little bit more on Kay's. Take a second to do this. What with this startup founder best practice thing we do here, we bring the founders on so they can share their experiences, so you can learn from them and get some takeaways and insights that you can use in your business. And Kay is a perfect example of that with leverage her background, to launch a startup. And so we all have knowledge from our work experience, hobbies, and intersecting that with the business opportunity is can yield some great results as it did in Kay's case. Already. So what we do here every Thursday night is uh, share with some of the things that the Kakua Institute offers to founders. And so this is a slide showing the training that we offer. Our core training, which we've been doing since 2022, is the Lean Stack. And then in 23, late 22, we also got started with the startup science platform. And then last year, we got partnered with Make Startups and got access to their co-founder OS platform. Late last year, through our partnership with Black Innovation Leaders of Florida, we got access to Patent Hacks. And just the latest update on that, if you want to get some trademark training, it's best to do that. Register for that immediately. The link is here. Go to our homepage, kakuainstitute.org, and click the Get Started page. We only going to have access to that through January. So if you hadn't signed up for that to get access to that, the time is now. And so that is a neat opportunity. You get access to the platform, PatentX platform, where you learn about patents and trademarks. But we also have a few scholarships to pay for you filing for your trademark or patent. So it's a really great opportunity, which is ending um, at the end of January. And just to make another note on that, let me go back to our Lean Stack plan here. So currently, with our Lean Stack license, where we teach business model design and how to launch and sell a product, we have currently our licenses are for unlimited uh, licenses for that for people for that we can give to do the business model design class. And so if you haven't signed up with our startup program or a Black Founder program, the time is now. So next year, at the end of January, we transition to where we only will have the ability to give out 100 licenses per year. And so if you've been sitting back and missing out, um, it's time to act now. And so I'll go ahead and put so like if you want to get access to that, you can go to our Get Started page, like I had in this slide here, and just look for the Startup on the Block session and just follow the link and you can apply there. Or if you want to get involved with our Black Founder program, you can go to apply.kakuainstitute.org, apply.kakuainstitute.org. Alrighty, so what we do here every Thursday night is try to help founders in these ways you see here on the slide. So if you get involved with us, this is what you get the benefit of. Learning how to design scalable business models, learning how to pitch them, and also learning how to launch or grow your business. So we work with both aspiring founders and founders who want to grow their business. And over the past 5 years, I've ran into a lot of founders that have created products that are basically sitting on the shelf or just getting sporadic sales. Our Lean Stack program, it literally teaches you how to sell your product so that it doesn't sit on the shelf. We teach you how to get repeatable sales. And so the other thing, when you learn and get a solid business model, you can pitch that business models to get co-founders, mentors, and partners. And so we also help you understand all the startup milestones that you have to go through so you always know where you are. And that's the biggest problem, one of the bigger problems with founders. They don't know where they are. They don't know what to do next. They're all confused. And then the next day we have through our startup science program, we have this where we help you understand the life cycle phases of a startup so you know what to do in each phase. And a lot of times founders will try to do something in an early, do things. They're like, let's say they're in an early phase, just getting started, but they'll try to do stuff that's designed for another phase. You're doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. But the real reason why we're here every Thursday night, because if you learn how to pitch your business model, not your product, you can unlock a lot of resources in the startup ecosystem. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. I get emails every day inviting me to programs, startup programs, and we teach you how to get on these mailing lists and also build up your startup profile on these different sites like f6s.com and get your profile built up, and you'll get invited to programs that give you money. Or I just got an email from Amazon today. They just announced their selection of founders for their generative AI accelerator, and which in that accelerator they get up to $1 million in AI, in Amazon Web Service credits. So it's all about getting involved in an ecosystem, talking to other founders, but you got to get involved in the ecosystem to kind of get going. I've been showing this particular slide for the last 5 years, but it just gives you an idea. When you got an idea, that's way before you launch your business. But the ecosystem starts helping you when you first come up with the idea, and you can take advantage of opportunities in the ecosystem before you ever open your business or anything. So you're missing out if you're trying to start your business and then get help. So you can start way before that. And what I've learned over my time in ecosystem since I retired from the federal government is is that all of uh, there are organizations that help you at every stage along this journey, including when you're scaling, including when you get ready to sell your company. So don't you if you're not taking advantage of these opportunities, you're making a mistake, because I run into founders, people who run in business all the time. Well, I'm not a tech founder. I don't have this kind of business, that kind of business. This is not for me. That's the biggest mistake you can ever make. Yes, this training supports you in any type of business, but it's the fundamentals are the same whether you're doing a startup or a traditional business. So get the training, even if you have a traditional type small business. It's worth the deal there. Now, in the startup science, I was telling you on that, it's all about taking you through the life cycle phases. And so like one example of doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. So a lot of people, when they go to market, they go try to hire people. But the bottom line is, until you have your processes and your business standardized, you're making a mistake hiring people. You're hiring people just going to sit there because you don't have your processes all ironed out. Alrighty, I'm going to switch over to a different chart from now, just to show, give you uh, a little more background about how this, and then I'll show you some of the tools that are available to you in the startup ecosystem. So this is uh, I've said this 1,000 times, but bear with me and listen to me. You won't regret it. The good news is that uh, we have the tools to help you get through this process. And so I'll leave it at that. And so the Lean Stack, this is a slide from the Lean Stack platform that we have the licensing to. So the first milestone you want to meet is this founder model fit, and then this problem solution fit. So we've worked mostly in these two phases. And so uh, this is if you have a startup and participate in the ecosystem, you know you have to know how to design a scalable business model. There's no way around it. And so I've been in a lot of programs, and not one of those programs, except this Lean Stack thing, teaches you how to actually design a scalable business model. And then I'll go through the details of this too. And then this we currently are doing this demand validation playbook with our founders, and definitely invite you to join in on that. But it's how you go learn how to get the repeatable sales. So if you have a startup and you're out there and you got sporadic sales, or if you can't predict the amount of sales you're going to make next month or the month after, you haven't you're not following the processes that are already outlined for you to be successful with your business. So there's a playbook uh, for that, and so that's so we make those playbooks available for you to use. Repeatable sales. That's what the deal is. If you want to get help, if you want to get the big money from these programs to help you move forward, you have to understand the process to get the repeatable sales. So let's see, go to the next slide. Let me put this in, see if I can put this in display mode so we can move a little faster here. Okay. All right. Yeah. So yeah, these are the continuous innovation mindset. So it's all about continuous innovation, but all your constraints you have, no money or whatever, those constraints are a gift. And so that's, we'll just leave it at that for now. And I said this earlier, this is number two reason why products fail, focus on the wrong thing at the wrong time. And so, you have, there's certain things you do at each stage. So you have to just remember that. And but at these early stages, you try to work with as few amount of customers as possible, so you can actually learn from them and understand that. And then once you get those key insights and secrets and nail down your processes, then you scale. Okay, now this is a busy chart, but if you bear with me a minute, I'll help you um, understand the significance of this chart. Um, so let me remove this banner so you can see the whole thing. I think the number one thing when somebody's starting a business, they want to raise money for that business. In the startup world, just be clear here. This is a chart showing how the startup world works, not how the traditional small business. So traditional small business, you go out and borrow money, get a loan, or something. If you're doing the borrowing, or and you have to go to a bank or whatever, you it's based on you still have to communicate to them correctly in order to get the money, but generally it's based on your credit. Now, here, this, if you look at this chart, it's talking about the um, uh, startup founder, and so and so this example says that ideal time is never, because if you can do product led growth where your sales allow you to grow, that's but and also but then it's saying it's almost never a good time. But so, and then it says the best time to raise money is when your unit economics are understood, you're profitable, are within striking distance, and you have this 5 to 10x growth potential. That means you're doing this exponential curve. And so the main point I want to make on this chart is that if you look at time going to the right, it's showing you that you're not profitable these early on. So that's understandable. But in the startup world, um, so how do you get money, services to kind of close this profit line, gets them to fill this white space in here, um, so you're not going in a hole. And that's what the startup ecosystem is for. Is you leverage that startup ecosystem, like the example I gave to those. So if those people that got in that Amazon generative AI program, they don't have to spend any money on their hosting service. They get up to $1 million. I don't have the whole list in front of me on what all they get. But for example, I've been in programs that, where I got, anywhere from a few $1,000s to $45,000, just to participate in the program and work on my product. And so that's this white space in here. That's what the ecosystem does for you. And it's based on your credibility, not your credit, your progress through these different green and orange stages. It's based on you showing your social proof that you're working on your startup, and that um, they they can see that you're making progress. Once you get in one program, that normally refers you to another program and another program, and so it helps you get the resources that you need to to kind of move forward. So if you take anything away from this chart, is learn how to pitch your business model clearly and concisely, and that's what unlocks those resources. Now, yeah, and so this chart, um, you have to learn these things. Pre-launch things you need to learn. Is my idea worth pursuing? How do I measure my success? What is a launch plan? How do I pitch my plan? Because you have to pitch your business model, your business plan, in order to recruit co-founders, advisors, and or attract investors. And so after you launch your product, selling your product, how do you measure, whether you got product market fit? Where are you on that graph timeline? What is your growth plan? How do you pitch your plan, to recruit more team members, et cetera, et cetera. So, all right, this is the process that we take founders through. If you look at those icons, all of these icons are business models, and so what this is saying, you have one big idea, business model where you just fill out this one page, and then for each of your customer segments in this one business model, you create another business model for each one of those customer segments, and then you start off testing each of those customer segments or variants for desirability, and that's based on the problem that the customer segment, the problem that customer segment has, and what they're currently using, and what unique value proposition you got. So the Lean Stack platform has the tool to do this, and so that's what you have to remember there. So they call the Lean Stack platform Lean Stack, and so this is this tool that's in the Lean Stack is called the Why Now Elevator Pitch. And then the next stress test, is for viability. This is all about the money that you generate. So so this block down here is your revenue model, and this block here is your metrics. And so with the goal of the amount of money you want to make, this traction roadmap tool for doing a stress test for viability, it helps you build a customer factory. And so if you got a product or service, your customers are you want happy customers. And so you want to get potential customers into this factory, get them to buy, and keep them happy by providing value to them. So we have a tool to actually figure out if your pricing model can actually reach your goal that you want to reach. And so this is the most valuable tool in the Lean Stack, because it helps you determine your viability and also feasibility of your idea. But you do it by the customer segments. You have a canvas for each of your customer segments. So like your price model for individuals, let's say this is an individual customer segment. Let's say this is a team customer, a business customer segment, or enterprise customer segment, and you testing the viability of the pricing. And so and yeah, and then the feasibility is based on the cost and your solution, your marketing channels, and your unfair advantage. But the whole idea is as you go through this process, you're trying to figure out which customer segment to focus on. And so as you can see, the customer segments reduce as you go from left to right. And this pink area is where we do demand validation. And that's a really, really, really neat process. And so that's what we do. And here's I guess the same thing in a different way to look at it, presented a slightly different way with the milestones. We have the business model design class. We have where you learn to design a scalable business model, and it's a slow, simple trick to do that. So that's no problem whatsoever. And then you move over here where you doing the customer problem fit. That's where you trying to understand if your customers really have the problem you think they have. And then in in the platform, the demand validation playbook and the Lean Stack platform, there's a tool called the Customer Forces tool where you upload the interviews, uh, where you interview people that have recently, and in the last 90 days, purchased something that that that's similar to your product or service, and you're trying to understand the psychology of what caused them to switch from what they were currently using to what they purchased, and you also want to understand if how satisfied are they with their purchase. If they still got some issues with their purchase, whatever those voids is, that's the way you have the opportunity. So in this phase of the 90-day, you actually learn about the customer forces that your potential customers that you're going to have. And so with these customer forces, you can learn how to get potential customers to switch from what they're currently using to what you have. And so having a tool to do this, the tool also generates the customer forces stories and the job to be done stories. And you take all that information and then you do a solution design, which is you fill out what is called a 5P matrix. And so this is when you do this, this is a really valuable piece of information. Now you got all the information you need to develop a sales offer, a sales pitch, and in this case, it's called the Mafia offer. And so if you get this right, it converts at 80%. So you get customers potential customers in the funnel, present this Mafia offer. 80%, that's 4 out of 5 people will buy it. It's an offer that's so good. Only the way you can do this is because you understand, you went through this process earlier to understand the problem they have, and you understand the forces that can actually get them to switch. And then you from the you design your offer, and then if it converts, uh, you go out and build MVP. And so that's the way this whole process works. Does anybody have any questions on that? Because I've been running my mouth for a while. Anybody in the audience have any questions on what I just talked about? It's a whole drawn out process, but we guide you through the whole process. And like I said before, it's worth going through the process, because otherwise, if what I see, and I've interviewed over 300 founders, what I see is they go get out here and build the MVP, and the MVP, they have sporadic sales or no sales, and that's not good. And so it's all because they haven't learned how to do those customer forces and to do that. But all of this information in this program here, when you go through you do the smartphone, it literally teaches you. It's all the information you need for your marketing campaign, and your landing page, and all that good stuff. So that's the deal there. So I'm definitely willing to entertain some questions. So as you see, this is a long, drawn out process. So what I'll do next is, I think that's the last slide here. So let me get off that and go over. Let's see what else we got. So I have some good news. We've developed a AI prompt that takes you through all of those steps. It takes you through all of these steps here. One prompt with 27 steps takes you through all this. Yeah. So so it doesn't build an MVP, but it's really straightforward to once you have this information here, this solution design, you can take that information um, and use the Chat GPT or Gemini or Claude to create a product requirements document and use one of the vibe coding tools to actually build you an MVP. Um, um, so yeah, so that's the neat thing about this. But the whole idea, so this particular prompt, it does the business model design. It does, that's the Lean Stack business model design training. It does the demand validation. That's the thing where you're learning how to sell in a 90-day program. But it takes that information from the customer forces and jobs to be done that you learn here in this demand validation and creates you a marketing strategy. And when I say marketing strategy, that means it's going to create the artifacts for you to have on your landing page on your website when you're trying to get people into your sales funnel. Okay, so and what it requires from you is a detailed business idea description goes here. Now you can you can the more you tell it, the better results you're going to get. You can say just 2 or 3 sentences, or you can have a paragraph or a page or whatever. But you paste that in these 2 places here, and then you just say what industry is in. So, if like the guest that was supposed to be on tonight, she a business idea. It's basically her solution is um, a self-watering flower pot or whatever, but it's designed to water the plants for 30 days, and so the so she's gotten it patented, so she would put all that stuff about her business idea in there, and then that's in the plant or flower industry or whatever that industry, and then she would just put that here, and then the prompt goes through like I said earlier, the business model design and the validation playbook. There's nothing in this prompt that contains the material. It finds it on the internet, and then it extends that with the marketing strategy. Okay, if I can find the slider here, and then we use this verbose discovery principles for with train for veracity, and one of our founders came up with this approach. It may not be her original approach, but this is the approach she used, so we recognize her with that. So iterative thinking, context, continuity, structured artifacts, and preserve good copies. So that's just giving the AI some more instruction. So these are the tasks that the prompt does. Let's make sure we show this. Okay, so got that, the task. It's got all the step-by-step workflow. And so the next thing I'm doing, I have to just give you a little heads up. I've already started building. You can run this prompt, but I also start building a tool an application that will help you along with this. And so this thing I go through 3 phases. One phase is the business model design, and then the demand validation, and then the marketing. So what I learned working for the government is when you're building something or you're doing something, you have to understand the whole supply chain. And so I do that with the first step: identify all the stakeholders and the pain points of the stakeholders. And so that will give you a grounding in understanding the industry and all the pain that those stakeholders have. Yeah, and so there's a lot of good analogies to this, but the but so you want to understand your whole ecosystem of the industry you're in, and so that's what the purpose of this point. And then the second thing is, and this is kind of a step-by-step process for working on your idea. And so determine the potential business model. All that means is all the ways you can make money. And so the thing does 10 potential ways you can make money. Most people, when they come up with an idea, they already know how they think they want to make money. But this shows you some alternative ways to make money. So you're not limited to just what you think. And then it ranks those ways based on scalability. And then it develops a lean canvas, which is equivalent. This is equivalent to, get back up to this big idea canvas right here. Now you're at this step right here. Let's see if we can get back to the right thing here. Okay, and also identify the early adopters. Then step 5. It creates 5 customer segments, a business model for each customer segments. And so let's show you that on the chart. So this is the 5 variants, 5 customer segments. And then it does widen out elevator pitch for each of those customer segments. That's what this is. That's what this is. So you follow me? It's taking you through this whole process of doing it. So it's like it's doing a simulation of your business idea and business. Okay, and then it ranks them based on desirability. Then the next thing it does is stress test it for viability. Okay, now that's this step here. So in the Lean Stack platform, you have the traction roadmap tool that does this stress test of viability and feasibility. So that's what this thing is doing next. But it's actually don't have that tool. So it's what it's doing. It's taking a look at the size of the market and all this stuff. And so so believe it or not, when you use the traction roadmap tool, when you're trying to stress test it for viability, these are the kind of things you have to know, and the AI realizes that. So you're doing this for each customer segment, and so that's what this thing is doing. It's stress testing the top 3 customer segments, and it's figuring out all this information for those 3 customer segments. So better speed up here, and then does the feasibility test. Okay, and then missed the rollout plan here. And so as part of the feasibility test and it for each one of those that passed the feasibility test, then it does a rollout plan, and now next later rollout plan. And then it develops there's a template. Here's the template for the slide deck. So it's develop your business model story pitch that you pitch. This is what you pitch your business model, not your product. Yeah, most people pitch their solution, but when you're trying to take advantage of the ecosystem, you have to pitch your business model, how you make money with your product or service. And then it develops a 3-minute verbal pitch based on that slide deck. And then we go into stage 2, which is the demand validation. And so let's go over here. That's this pink section here, and then let's go down to the next thing here. That's these 2 blocks here: customer problem fit and problem solution fit. So this is why you get involved with the ecosystem, so you don't have to be in the dark on how to build a startup. Yeah. And so I was telling you about the customer forces and the job to be done stories. And so when you do those problem discovery interviews, most people, when you hear startups say, well, I go out and interview potential customers. What we do with the Lean Stack is you interview people who recently purchased something similar to what you're building. And so you can understand what caused them to buy that, why they switched, what triggered them to go looking for a new product, why they, and what they liked about the products they looked at, and why they chose them. And so from all that information, so there's a script that you have to use, and so from that script, it helps the AI generates this information right here. And so once you finish those broad match interviews, and then you do narrow match interviews for a smaller customer segment, a job to be done segment, and from that is where you start getting all those insights that you need. Any questions? Anybody so far? Okay, now we're getting, so from that information in that 90-day demand validation, you learn the features that you need to have in your solution. So this, you map out the hiring, firing, and trade-off, and that's using this thing called a Kano model. So this firing, if your solution doesn't have this must have, it's not going to be chosen. Hiring criteria, it's got to have these features. Trade-off, these are the things that are the delighters. And so that's the next step. Now you got all the information, you can design your solution. So we have the training teaches you how to fill out this 5P matrix or table, and so the bottom line is a lot of stuff you already did. Most of the table is already filled out. I think there's 9 of the items, 15 items in the table that are already filled out. But see, it's saying get this PR level detail. This is product requirements document. So this is what a software person would use to build your MVP. And this is what vibe coding tools will use to build your MVP. And then drafts the market offer. That's this step here. And that's so there. Okay, then recommend some validation experiments. So these it sort of does this in a different way. So this is where you so what we do, so it's recommending validation experiments, but we actually this right here is where we find out a lot of things from these interviews right here. Yeah, but it's also you're also going to do some tests with your landing page. Your minimum success criteria is already minimum success criteria for the experiments that you're doing on those tests. So the prompt will go through this and analyze all this stuff and tell you what to do, and that's the beauty of Lanika's prompting method that she shared with us. Now you save all your artifacts always. So once you finish that, now you're going into stage 3. You're connecting the customer forces and job to be done to the marketing strategies. So how am I doing on time here? Okay, so okay, and so it's taking all of the stuff you've already done there and getting the context, and then it's translating that into insights into marketing implications. So that's what it's doing here, and and so it's literally going to create your sales funnel thing too. So so that's pretty neat. Yeah, map the customer forces job to be done into a sales funnel framework. So this thing is actually creating your sales funnel for you as well. and then it's crafting the messages for each marketing segment. But the bottom line is you're not going to be able to afford to do market to several segments. You got to you got to target your early adopter segment. Create testable campaigns. It's going to create some campaign concepts, compare the across each the segments, and then it's going to generate a campaign creative brief and generate the marketing stuff for you, landing pages, email sequences, etc. Yeah, and A/B testing, and that's it. So that's really a lot of stuff. So, like I said, in the training, when you get involved with us, we take you through this whole process. But in order to kind of simulate the process, is what Joe is saying about the prompt: 15 ways to make money with your idea. But so you're following the systematic step. So if you were on early and you heard them talking about K Wells and the lean process, what she learned from manufacturing, in essence, that's what this is. That's why it's called a lean stack. It's got a stack of tools that you use to kind of with your business ideas, so you don't waste a lot of money. That's why they call it the lean startup process, the lean canvas. It's designed to do experiments, so you don't go out and spend. And so when it's constrained, you don't go out and waste money. So that's what the beauty of the whole process is. All righty. Any questions on that? And the recommendation for running the prompt is you can. What I did is I ran it in ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini, and Mistral LeChat, just to kind of compare the difference in output. And by far, Claude did the best response. And so, but as a treat for listening, if you're new and you're listening, I'll get the link for this and put it in the chat here. So as a thanks for listening, I shared it last week. But just copy that and try it out. But we are here to help you with your startup. And remember, we for the gets access to all these tools and stuff, you have to go to apply at apply.kokuainstitute.org, or go to our Get Started page on the website, and we'll give you access to the Startup Science platform, where you get these training courses, real easy to go through training courses and tools that teaches you to do all your market sizing, and we've got all these different tools in their competitor find in there as well. And then it's also got funding sources, but no, this is actually perks. So you get all these free or discounted tools there. And I guess the capital is where they got both diluted and undiluted funds. It's got the libraries, got lists, and all these different kinds of things in there. Let's see what this list is. Startup communities, university programs, stuff like that. Then it's got the knowledge knowledge base, which I haven't added anything in here for our founders, but that's the kind of stuff. And it builds a, uh, let's see, let's see, see if I can find it. Yeah, it has videos for everything, but it builds a profile for your company. And then the lean stack, let's see what the got here. Um, yeah, you get access to the training that goes through and has all the tools in it. I won't take time to show that, but what we tell people to do is once you let's see if I can find this real quick. Let's see where once you finish this prompt thing here, you dump it over into the Notebook LM. Uh, you take the results of your prompt. You can you come over here if you copy it and paste it. You can copy it and paste it here, or you can add it as save it as a PDF and then upload it here. And then you take it over here to the studio, and you can create a video, a podcast. And so today, this is where this particular deal here is the explainer video you saw at the beginning of the thing here. Yeah. And so the neat thing about when you create a podcast, the audio overview, and like this is so the neat thing about that, you can actually interact with it and ask it questions, but you also get the chat here where you can type your ask questions about your business model, all those things that are generated, in this prompt here. So that it's not an overnight process, but it's definitely a workflow that'll help you doing. So, any questions, Joe or Carlos out there? Anybody got any questions? Be glad to help. Yes. Yep. So, just a review. We take you through these processes, which help you learn the best practices of being a founder, so you can get the help you need to build your startup. And so yeah, that's kind of what the deal is here. Let's see here. The road is not not easy, but you can do it. Yeah. So there's a lot of things you have to do to take advantage of the ecosystem. And so that's why we're here. We provide you all the knowledge and tools that you need to kind of move forward with your business. So just um, uh, just so you understand the help that you can get. You don't have to be out there all alone. I talked with two founders earlier this week, and we're going to get them off and running with their business ideas and help them. And right now, if you're a Black founder and you join in right now, we're going to have a demo day in December, and so 3 people, one founder is going to take home $2,500, another one is going to take home $1,500, and another one is going to take home $1,000. The only requirement is you have to set up a company, here in the state of Florida. Appreciate y'all chiming in, and I apologize for my guest not being here. But when somebody has a family emergency, that's all the excuse they need in my book, because family definitely comes first. And we appreciate you all, and we'll see you all here next week. Next week is the last week in the month, and a lot of activities are. I'll be speaking at the I-10 Wire next week, and I'll be going over a lot of this stuff here. And so, if you're in Pensacola or want to travel to the beach, the I-10 Wire event is going on next week. Thank you all for chiming in. We look forward to seeing you all next week, and take care. I'll go ahead and end this stream.